This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
Today on CityCast Philly, TikTok is one of the biggest social media platforms in the world. So we're running down Philly accounts we should all follow right now, from the sarcastic food reviews to the best Delco accents. It's Monday, January 8th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Beatrice Foreman, general assignment reporter with the Philadelphia Inquirer. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me again.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Okay, new year, new us. We got some new accounts, some Philly accounts we should follow right now. You spent some time putting together a list we should follow. You know, we often spend hours just scrolling on the platform. So how did you actually choose which accounts to highlight?
This is going to sound so unserious and unscientific, but genuinely just based off of vibes. So at The Inquirer, I write a lot about Philly's corner of the internet and content creators from our city. So I already have a really good handle on kind of who are the main players on TikTok, but I also live here. I also like to doom scroll in bed. I call that my slug time. So I have a lot of Philadelphians on my For You page naturally. So as a mix of kind of culling through people I had written about previously who were doing really cool, interesting things, but also creators I really like to enjoy watching in my free time. And I think the other thing that's really important was making sure I had a diverse bunch in terms of content, but also people. Philly is a very diverse city, and the media we consume is a mirror of that. So I want to make sure I wasn't just recommending those influencers who are perfectly polished, but it's not necessarily relatable to us and how we live our lives.
Okay, you broke down your list of Philly TikTok accounts into different categories, and one of them was called Distinctly Philly. What exactly does that mean?
So that is like when you're scrolling on social media and you see a video and then you text your friend, like, this could only happen here. Or like, damn, like, that's so Philly. Like when you watch somebody climbing a pole on Broad Street after a championship game, right? Mm-hmm. That's super Philly. So these content creators are people who make things or talk about things that could only happen here. We also love inside jokes. I think a lot of the stuff that you see on Philly TikTok, other cities would not necessarily understand or would think is like weird.
Right. So you kind of have to be a Philadelphian or somewhat close, because there is controversy if people from Delco are Philadelphians or if you're from Montgomery County or South Jersey, you know, if you're a true Philadelphian. But I feel like if you're from outside of Philly, but close enough, you'll understand inside jokes.
There are a couple of suburbanites on the list, but they are few and far between. You matter if you're from the suburbs, at least to me.
I love it. So who's on the list?
Okay, so first off, I want to start up with Alex Pearlman. You might know him as Pearlmania 500. He has over 2.3 million TikTok followers. And he is the stand-up comic who is kind of the Philly area's de facto like TikTok news pundit. He likes to break down local politics, local current events, local pop culture news in a very funny, accessible way, kind of like when you talk crap with your friends about what's going on in the news.
Bob Menendez is the senior United States Senator for the state of New Jersey, making $174,000 a year. The government of Egypt, we weren't selling them weapons for a while. The United States wasn't selling Egypt weapons. So what did the government of Egypt do? Did they change their ways until they made it stop being a brutal dictatorship? No. Instead, they talked to a businessman who talked to Bob.
Maybe we should get him on CityCast Philly.
He would be a good guest co-host. He would be better than me. The other person I wanted to shout out was Sierra Williams, who goes by Sierra Likes Eggs on TikTok. So remember when Keke Palmer's baby daddy was acting a fool? a couple months ago.
Yes.
She was like, I know why. It's because he's a man from Philly.
Why is y'all having think pieces on Keke Palmer Video Dead? That man is from Philadelphia County, Pennsylvania. At this point, it's above us. There's nothing we can do but send Miss Palmer some love and light and prosperity. Because if there's one thing a man from Philly is going to do, it's be embarrassing. They can't help it. They don't got no impulse control. That's how it comes out. They just going to be embarrassing.
She like just kind of riffs on like what it's like to live in Philly. She's a natural storyteller. Like, I listened to her talk for hours. Like, she'll talk about like the package thief who knocked on her door. Like, you have no packages for me to take from you. Or when her cheesesteak spot got a new chef, so they wouldn't make a cheesesteak to her liking. She's like kind of silly stuff that like would only happen here, and she is hilarious. Another account that I have on my list is a rapper named Armani White, who goes by Armani Blanco on TikTok, and he is a rapper from West Philadelphia. Some of your listeners may not know who he is by name, but if you've been on social media since 2022, you've probably heard that song that I'm going to butcher, but it sounds like Drop Top Big T-Shirt Billie Eilish. That's him.
That's good. That was good, Beatrice.
I'm stylish, glow, talk big T-shirt Billie Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond. Talk crazy when I pull up in sight. Mile high, run that back, I'm stylish, glow, talk big T-shirt Billie Eilish. Watch on my wrist, but I want that diamond.
It's been everywhere to the point where he got to perform the song with Billie Eilish at a music festival. And now his TikTok is just a highlight reel of what it's like to become famous for the first time. So it's him going to award shows with his mom, rehearsing for music videos, recording freestyles in the studio, which I think is just super cool.
Love it.
And the last account that I think is super interesting is this account called Downtown Hustle, where this Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash driver on an electric bike just films his daily delivery route.
Okay, this sounds interesting.
Tells you how much money he makes, why he'll pick a job. He'll film like positive interactions with customers and restaurants, negative interactions with customers and restaurants. My roaming empire is like the gig economy. I'm obsessed with how apps like Instacart and Grubhub and GoPuff work because I order from them so frequently. So this is a really interesting look behind the curtain.
More Philly TikTok accounts we need to follow right now after the break. This is CityCast Philly. Beatrice, Philly's got a thriving food scene. Plus, there's a lot of new restaurants opening this year. Who are your favorite Philly foodies to follow on TikTok?
Okay, so remember when I said folks from the suburbs matter?
Yes.
This is where that comes in. There is this account called Godfather of Meat that is like a Delco, Bucks County stereotype come to life. It's just this man who is like almost always wearing Philadelphia sports apparel with a deep Delco accent, and he just like shouts at you about the best hoagie or cheesesteak or pizza he's ever had in the suburbs.
So the cheesesteak is out of this world. The black pepper Cooper Sharp with the ribeye is a great combination. I've never had the black pepper Cooper Sharp. I'm going to be honest, I expected it to be a little bit too much pepper for me. It actually wasn't. It was really mild. It was really, really good. A game changer. You don't see that anywhere. This is actually the only spot I've ever seen it. I've never even seen the black pepper Cooper Sharp in the supermarket.
Any other food accounts you like?
Oh, yes, there are a couple. So, of course, I have to shout out Tanera Mallory or Tanera Double Chocolate. You may know her as the lady who goes, "Everybody's so creative," over like duets with those weird, gross, like rage bait cooking videos of like raw pasta in the aluminum foil pan with the cheese, or when people make like weird hamburger concoctions or like casseroles that shouldn't be casserole.
Everybody's so creative. So you put just pasta right in an aluminum pan. Don't even take the paper out because you want all the seasonings. Now get yourself some clove garlic and dump it right on top because you don't want anybody talking too close to you in your face. Now dump yourself a bottle of soup right on top, any kind of soup. If you don't have soup, get pasta sauce or anything that's runny and liquidy.
So she's bidding on some of the weird food things that people eat or make.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that those recipes aren't meant for consumption or aren't meant for clicks because there's like no measurements, there's no directions. It's like a massive quantity of food that nobody would ever eat. And like the person always has no gloves on as like a showing a fresh manicure. She's making fun of people whose job essentially it is like to draw like rage and shade on the internet.
Got it. Okay. Who else should we follow?
I love the TikTok account for the Franklin Fountain. You can find them at Franklin Ice Cream on TikTok. Franklin Fountain is that popular old city ice cream shop and candy store that puts all of their sundaes and scoops in Chinese takeout containers, I think, or something that looks like them. And their TikTok account is just dedicated to showing how the sundaes get made, how their floats get made, with little history lessons on the side. So they're making a Hydrox cookie sundae, which is just like the Philly version of an Oreo. They'll tell you what a Hydrox cookie is and the origin story behind it. They have a stock market crunch sundae. They'll tell you why that sundae has to do with a popular, famous stock market crash from like the 1920s. So it's a little bit of sweet. And it's a little bit of history lessons. I feel super prepared to go on like Jeopardy after I watch their TikTok.
I love it. A little history and some dessert. Beatrice, I want to do some more home cooking. Who should I follow?
Even though I'm not much of a home cook, I love the account from Chef Chris Cho. He is the owner of Philadelphia's Korean barbecue chain, Sarah Bowl. But his account actually has nothing to do with his restaurant. He is just posting simple and expensive and quick traditional Korean recipes for people to try to make at home, like how to prepare kimchi, how to make crispy chive pancakes. So if you are a home cook, maybe he's the guy for you.
There's this other guy, I was trying to look for his account when you were talking. He is a home cook and he always curses. This is like irritating me.
I know who you're talking about, and it's one of those people who, like, you see their videos all the time, and the minute you try to find it, you're like, no thoughts.
I found it. Mike with 3 E's made it.
Ooh, maybe I'll profile him.
I don't know if Mike is actually from Philly.
He posts stuff in Cherry Hill. He's from the area.
One time, Mike taught us how to make Pop-Tarts from home. You know, he taught us how to make pumpkin ice cream, jerk chicken, and even water. You know, and it was just so funny because he pulls out a pan, pours water, chops up ice, and throws that into the pan, all while cursing at us.
Garlic, shallots, cook that shit, add in the mushroom, cook that shit till the moisture is going, add in the red wine, there you go, mushroom duck salad. It's that simple. Now you making crepes. Oh, what's a crepe? What's a crepe? It's a little pancake. It's that simple, bro. I don't know how else to explain it. Build that prosciutto, duck salad, crepes. Roll that nice and tight.
You have a category in your TikTok list for lifestyle accounts to follow. But Beatrice, what does lifestyle mean to you?
So to me, lifestyle content is content that shows people how to have fun and how to live their lives in the best way possible. So it could be fashion tips, it could be travel itineraries, it could be content around parenting and mental health, just anything that kind of levels up your life. But in Philly, of course, like I said, this stuff is always a little rough around the edges, off the beaten path recommendations, you know, just has that Philly je ne sais quoi.
I love that. Okay, all right. Which Philly-based accounts made your list?
Number 1, I have to shout out the account Cass and the City.
Yes, Cass. She's been on the show before, yeah.
We love Cass. I call her like Philly's concierge or Philly's tour guide. She's going to have you taken care of when it comes to all of the day trips and weekend trips you can do from the city. And her recommendations are killer. Like you can climb a tower of flowers near Valley Forge, or like she'll tell you an awesome Amish cookie tour in Lancaster. Just a lot of cute, inexpensive stuff you can do with a family. She also knows when there's a good sale. Like she was the first on that Anthropology warehouse sale. She has been doing all of the recommendations and hauls from the Snipes sale. So if you want to shop or if you want to travel, she's your girl.
Yes, and congrats to Cass. She just had a baby.
Her baby's adorable. Oh my God.
know.
Cutest baby. No offense to the other babies.
All right. Who else made the list?
Speaking of parents and mom content, Noelle Palamento, or the first Noelle on TikTok.
That's cute. I like that name, the first Noelle.
She's a mom from South Jersey, but we'll get around the technicality. She and her daughter Giada have just a ton of personality. She started going viral for doing her daughter's hair for school every morning, and her daughter would ask for very specific hairstyles, like I want 2 space buns or a high pony, and she was giving celebrity. But now it's kind of just like very unfiltered mom realness. She'll do outfit of the days with her daughter, and they love to twin. She'll show what she's packing for school lunch and tons of ideas for easy girl days, but kind of like with this like zest of a Philly mom who just doesn't mess around. Like she's very to the point. And her daughter is definitely going to be like a television host one day. She is natural in front of the camera.
Y'all, this Star Gloss Shine, her hair is literally sparkling. Please look down. She won't let me do a bun, y'all. Look down. We're going to the beach. I want your hair up so it's not in your face. Look down.
I want a ponytail.
I said boom, boom, chicka boom. This is what I deal with, y'all. Please.
I love this. This sounds like the mornings in my household. All right, who else made the cut?
The final person is actually a publicist. So he is a bit of a 2-in-1. He does influencing, but he also does traditional PR. His name is Corey Anversa. You can find him on TikTok as @PhillyPublicist. And what he does is super sneaky, but actually really helpful. So he will post videos from all of the events and clients that he's promoting as though he's like a traditional influencer. So he'll post like a roundup of like the best places to eat for Center City Sips. But he's actually representing those restaurants.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Take his stuff with a grain of salt, but if you want to do one of those Keystone Philly events, like Sips, like the Christmas Village, like Aaron Express, or like the Mummers Parade, and just like don't know what to do, he's a really, really good account to start with.
What did you learn about Philly while doing this assignment?
I learned a lot of things about Philly, namely that what the internet looks like here is different than a lot of other cities with an influencer scene or a ton of content creators. We think of New York and Los Angeles, and all of that content is very polished. Those people have teams who edit for them. They take it very seriously. They're very buttoned up. But Philly is kind of a free-for-all. We post our stream of consciousness. We post funny stuff we see on the street. And obviously there's forethought in what these creators do, because a lot of them do make money from the work they post. But it's a lot more fun. It's a lot less serious. And I think it matches the vibe of Philly a lot better.
All right. That was Beatrice Foreman, General Assignment Reporter with the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thanks so much for all these recommendations and for joining me on CityCast Philly.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have a link to Beatrice's full story in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode about Philly TikTok accounts we should follow right now, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.